Shabbat shalom. There's no crying in baseball. It's one of Tom Hanks's most well-delivered line in his entire career, at least in my opinion. And while on one level it's a funny and memorable line, it contains so much truth into how our society views expressing emotions. That line works because it captures something that we've absorbed deeply. Emotions are supposed to be controlled, hidden, managed, especially if we are in public. Crying, we're told, belongs behind closed doors. But this tension between what we feel and what we allow ourselves to show is not modern at all. It didn't start with the film A League of Their Own. It actually starts in the story of our ancestor Joseph. We got to go back a week ago to our parsha from last week, where Joseph first recognizes his brothers. He turned away from them and wept, but he came back to them and spoke to them and took Shimon from among them and had him bound before their eyes. Rashi teaches us that when he turned away from them, he moved some distance away so that they should not see or hear him crying. Later on, we read that Joseph hurried out, for he was overcome with feeling toward his brothers, and he was on the verge of tears. He went into his room, and there he wept. And then he washed his face, reappeared, and now he was in control of himself. He gave the order, "Let's eat." Then this week, we read that Joseph could no longer control himself. Before all his attendants, he cried out, "Have everyone withdraw from me," so there was no one else about when Joseph made himself known to his brothers. His sobs were so loud that the Egyptians could hear, and the news spread to Pharaoh's palace. Joseph said to his brothers, "It is I, Joseph. Is my father still well?" But his brothers couldn't answer him. So dumbfounded were they on account of him. Then Joseph said to his brothers, "Come forward to me." And when they came forward, he said, "I am your brother Joseph, he whom you sold into slavery." Rashbam teaches us that up until this moment in our Torah, in the story of Joseph, Joseph had practiced restraint in every one of his actions and words to the brothers. But now he could no longer control himself. For Rashbam, Joseph could not suppress his emotions any longer. It was causing him extreme pain in his body, mind, and soul. And Sforno takes a different route. He says that he left so that all the people hearing him cry don't see that it was him who was crying. For Sforno, he still sees crying as a sign of weakness. And Rabbi Samson Raphael Hirsch adds that the crying that we see here in this moment, which is accompanied by wailing, it reveals the soul's true emotion. It is a sign of raw and genuine feeling. Where other commentators saw a loss of control, Hirsch saw the importance of expressing our emotions. It's only after this scene that Joseph is able to embrace his emotions, perhaps for the first time in 22 years. He realizes that his tears, that weeping and hugging and kissing his brothers, it's actually healthy. It allows him to shed his exterior shell that had prevented him from releasing his emotions for all of that time. We learn in chapter 45, verses 12 through 15, says, "You can see for yourselves and my brother Benjamin for himself that it is I indeed who am speaking to you. And you must tell my father everything about my high station in Egypt and all that you have seen, and you must bring my father here with all speed." With that, he embraced his brother Benjamin around the neck and wept, and Benjamin wept on his neck. He kissed all his brothers and wept upon them. Only then were his brothers able to talk to him. Barbanel teaches us that this crying towards his brother Benjamin, it expressed Joseph's great sadness at the suffering that the two men had endured by being separated for 22 long years. For it is quite common that people who have been apart for a protracted period of time will, when they are reunited, feel heartache and regret at their woeful past. It's always the renewed sight of the loved one that evokes his former absence. From Benjamin, Joseph moves on and kisses all of his brothers and weeps over them, for the same reason he had cried over his younger sibling. Only after this moment, after they all are able to have a good cry and hug it out, are they able to have a regular conversation. And after reuniting with his brothers, we read that Joseph ordered his chariot and went to Goshen to meet his father Israel. He presented himself to him, and embracing him around the neck, he wept on his neck a good while. Kept crying and crying after seeing his father who thought he was dead these past 22 years. It took our ancestor Joseph years to realize the power and importance of showing his emotions. He could finally express himself fully. Now, our rabbis picked up on the importance of not suppressing our emotions. They actually encourage us to tap into our emotions and express them to God. We learn in the Talmud and Brachot on the subject of prayer that Rabbi Elazar also said, since the day the temple was destroyed, the gates of prayer were locked. As it says in Lamentations, though I plead and call out, God shuts out my prayer. Yet, despite the fact that the gates of prayer were locked with the destruction of the temple, the gates of tears were never locked. And one who cries before God may rest assured that their prayers will be answered. As it's stated in the book of Psalms, hear my prayer, Lord, and give ear to my pleading. Keep not silence at my tears. Since this prayer is a request that God should pay heed to the tears of the one who is crying, they are certain that at least the gates of tears are not locked. The gates of tears are always open to us. God always hears our cries. God focuses on our cries. As it says in Psalms, God's eyes are on the righteous, the ears attentive to their cry. They cry out, and God hears. God saves them from all their troubles. God is close to the brokenhearted. Those crushed in spirit are delivered. You keep count of my wanderings. Put tears into your flask, into your record. Now, if the gates of tears are always open, if God is bottling up our tears and listening deeply to our deepest and rawest emotions, then expressing those emotions is not something that we should be ashamed of. It's not something that we should hide. It is a holy act, and an act that God holds dear. And yet, many of us still resist it. So what actually happens when we do cry? Well, let's first look at some statistics about how often Americans cry. It's not a lot. On average, American women cry about 3.5 times a month. Men, a lot less. 1.9 times per month do men cry. Yet there are many mental and physical health benefits when we do cry. Crying has been observed to make individuals feel better and lighter than before the release. When a person is crying, particularly when they're sobbing like Joseph did when he reunited with his family, we take in short breaths of cool air in quick succession. And this has the potential to help regulate our core body temperature as well as our brain temperature. According to a 2007 study by the Washington Center for Psychiatry, lower brain temperature directly affects an individual's mood, and therapeutic regulation of brain temperature can improve various mood disorders. Crying can also help self-soothe and relieve pain. Crying activates our parasympathetic nervous system, which has a calming effect, and it triggers our brains to release the feel-good chemicals like oxytocin. The endorphins released are natural painkillers that can help reduce our physical and emotional stress. Crying also just helps reduce stress in general. Our emotional tears contain more stress hormones, which can decrease our stress levels. Something all of us, I think, in the world need right now. Crying can also aid sleep. The combination of the stress-relieving benefits of crying and just the amount of energy expended when we are crying can help us get more restful sleep. Last, crying can help prevent diseases. According to a 2011 study at the Institute for Psychology in Germany, they found that different forms of repressive coping, such as resisting the urge to cry, have actually led to increased instances of hypertension, lowered immune response, and higher risk of cardiovascular diseases, in addition to the many mental health impacts of such behaviors like anxiety and depression. So how can we allow ourselves to finally release our emotions? Number one is we should create a safe space. We should choose a time and a place where we can feel alone or we can feel emotionally safe. Joseph had his crying chamber originally, but then he had his family. We should allow our emotions to rise. We shouldn't force it. We should journal or listen to music or watch a movie, right? We should think about what's been bothering us. We shouldn't just let it go, right? And if the tears come, that's great. If they don't come, it's okay. We should avoid self-judgment. This is probably the most important one. We should remind ourselves that crying is normal. Crying is really healthy for us. We should reach out if we really do need support. And if we are having difficult times with our emotions, here's what can help us. We should notice where the emotion is in our body. Is it in our head, our shoulders, our back, our legs? Where are we feeling that pain? We should notice the emotion, sensory qualities. We should ask the emotion, what is it trying to tell us? We should thank the emotion for existing. We should invite it to come along on this journey with us. And how can we start healing from emotional suppression? We should name what we feel. Are we angry? Are we sad? We should give ourselves permission. We should practice safe expression. We should reconnect with our body and our soul. We should challenge old beliefs that crying actually is healthy. It took our ancestor Joseph an awfully long time to realize that expressing his emotions rather than hiding them was beneficial to his health. Our rabbis knew that. God certainly knows that. And thank God that we were created with the ability to shed tears, to regulate our bodies and our minds. As we prepare to enter the new secular year of 2026, may this upcoming year be a year where we embrace our emotions, where we learn to be vulnerable, where we can cry out to God who will bottle up our tears, holding them dear and offering us comfort in times of distress. Wishing everyone a Shabbat Shalom and a Happy New Year.